Ratko Rudic, he has a basic system. Says he has no best player. He says they're all my best players. That's why we win. We're a team.
Rick McNair tipping a ball away back to Duplantis there, the red-capped American goalie that you see with that outlet pass.
And again, he's laser sharp, Jim, getting the ball downfield. They use a lot of basketball terms. They refer to the pool as a court. U.S. being in front court now, when you'll see a player moving the ball, swimming with it, they call it dribbling. And this will be a ordinary foul against the Italians. Nobody goes off. And into the 2-meter man, Humbert, with a spinning backhand shot that is stonewalled by Atolico, the great Italian goalie who is the captain of their team.
Well, Humbert gets a great backhand shot off, but now the United States, they're not going to be real sharp this first quarter, probably because of the jitters. Oh, and one just slides by Duplantis. He had it, and it skittered by.
That was Alberto Ghibellini, who is the fastest Italian swimmer, getting in position, and it skips on by.
Now, Duplantis had this shot, and then it just took that unlucky bounce and just skittered under his arm.
After a goal, they come back to mid-pool, and the team that was scored against puts the ball in play. This American team has played literally all over the world this year, getting ready for the Olympics, and they are thrilled to be on what they call the home field. The only place you don't want the home field advantage is in war, right?
Exactly. Well, now they have the home court advantage. Coach Rich Corso has been longing for this opportunity. Finally, he's got it. And after a 2.5-year residency program, you're looking at this Olympiads edition of the U.S. team, and we'll see what the United States program is all about. Humbert,
America's best, guns in a lightning overhead left-hand shot, and the game is tied at 1.
And that's what America's program is all about right now. Chris Humbert, take a look at this big 6'7" lefty, drills that right over Atolico's head, and with you see exactly how big he is. He's probably the biggest player in the pool. This is his Olympics dawn, to establish himself as truly one of the top 2 players in the world. And you know, his coach says he's not one of the top 3. But he's never really proven that in a World Cup or an Olympics, and this is his stage to do just that.
That was a good start. Kurt McNair. And now, with the game tied 1-1, the Italians fire from the flag. And the ball goes in over the outstretched hands of Duplantis, so the Italians hit quickly. That was Amedeo Pomilio, who Duplantis told us before the game is the player he fears most because of his accuracy shooting the ball.
Pomilio was exceedingly important in 1992 on that gold medal team in Barcelona. The victorious Italians made that wholesale change. He was one of those players that survived that, stayed in Rudic's system. He wants to see that pay off now.
Water polo is a major sport in Italy. They have a big professional league. A lot of Americans play there, like Humbert, America's top players. Players routinely earn $300,000 a year, plus many perks to play water polo professionally in Italy.
Well, it's obvious those 8 players that left Rudic's system didn't want to give up the good life.
Yeah, he kind of left them. It was pretty amazing. He won the gold medal with these guys, and they didn't want to spend as much time as he wanted, so he went with new guys.
And they have not dropped off one bit, winning the World Championship in 1994, being ranked first now. One win has almost absolutely ignited this Italian program, that with the Olympics in 92.
Rick McNair working hard to defend the 2-meter player, and Duplantis goes high and tips the ball. The Italians with a 2-1 lead with 2:49 to play in the first quarter. Humbert is the American leader. We asked him how he feels about that role as being the acknowledged leader of this team.
I think I'm more in the pool than out of the pool. I think they do feed off my emotion. I'm out there and I'm playing as hard as I can to win, and I think that goes through the whole team. I think everybody sees me out there playing so hard with this emotion, and people will follow that.
Humbert has the U.S. goal. He tied the game, but the Italians have subsequently gone in front on the lightning shot by Pomilio to take a 2-1 lead.
And you know, Chris Humbert uses the word emotional. The Italians will try to attack that emotionality. If they can hand check him, take him out of his game just by trying to upset him out there and get him ejected, that's one of the techniques that Rudic will employ, because they know that Humbert's got a temper, and it's not a long one.
And they also know Humbert made some remarks about wanting to beat the Italians physically before the World Cup. The Italians still use that as a motivator.
And they haven't forgotten it.
Because he plays professionally, or has in Naples, Chris Humbert. Played collegiately at Cal Berkeley. Duplantis comes out and gets the ball as two Italian swimmers were dangerously close. 1:52 to go in the first quarter of play. The Americans coming down pool with the ball, looking to tie the game. At this point, Italy, the #1 team in the world and the defending World Cup champion, Olympic champion, leads 2-1.
And so the Americans hanging in there early against Italy. We'll have more water polo coming up next. Plus, a close-up look at one of the hottest guys in the water, the man you just saw, American Chris Humbert. He loves junk food, he hates snakes, and he's having a ball in the pool when we come back.
NBC's coverage of the Centennial Olympic Games is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts Stores. We keep America running. And by Sprite, the official soft drink of the USA Basketball Dream Team.
They come from the toughest courts on earth. They are the masters of their game. They are the Dream Team. And people everywhere look up to them for one obvious reason. Oh! They're tall. They're real tall.
I bet that hurt, huh? No, it tickled. Say it again, man. You got a big hamburger head.
I know just about every garage in town. I guess I ought to know them all. More professionals use Napa parts than any other. That's because they can't afford to put in the same part twice. Just look at the signs. When did you see anything but we install Napa parts? Dan here liked us so much, he became a Napa Auto Care Center. Yep, everybody loves Napa. Of course, some say it's the hat. I think it's my good looks.
We keep America running.
A world of imagination is opening up before you. A world of digital picture and sound delivered right to your TV. U.S. satellite broadcasting. You can see everything from here.
Here, that's the clean, okay? You gotta get the hips under it, right? Jerk, right up to it.
People are really getting into the games. Because when you play McDonald's when the U.S. wins, you win game, you could win free McDonald's food. Or even $1 million instantly. Get to McDonald's and get into the games.
Things are happening every day. There's always something new. As I grow, it's good to know. I can still turn to you. You are the first place. We always try. 'Cause just like us, you have so many sides. Come see the many sides of seas.
We're now in the final minute of the first quarter. Italy and the USA in this preliminary round water polo game. The Italians took a 1-0 lead. U.S. tied it. Now the Italians are up 2-1 with 49 seconds to play in the first quarter.
Well, Humbert's been getting his hand on the ball. He draws the ejection there. And so the United States, Don, will have, there's a quick one right back to Humbert, doesn't get it off, smartly throws it out. And Humbert's been anchoring down that 2-meter position there beautifully.
Italy shorthanded now, the U.S. with the advantage, but they can't capitalize. Shot is stonewalled again by Attalico. As we're coming down to the final half minute of the first quarter. Good defense by the USA. Coming up was Chris Oeding, and now Duplantis stops a shot. Italians firing hard here in the opening quarter.
Well, actually, Duplantis has already exceeded his Olympic experience. He played in 2 Olympic games, 88 and 92, and only played a minute and a half in each one. Now he's almost played a full quarter. And now he considers himself a veteran. This is what he's stuck around for. He wanted that starting assignment.
Game consists of 4 7-minute quarters. Moving the ball down the pool now is Sillipo. And he guns from way outside. A spectacular shot. Three seconds left to play in the first period. And it's now a 3-1 game.
And an outstanding shot. Look at this. This is almost from half court. And Duplantis just didn't expect to skip like that. And I'll tell you, that is a tough, tough introduction to your first starting assignment at the Olympic Games. 2.6 seconds left.
Now a long shot at the goal at the final horn of the first quarter. It is errant, and so the Italians take a 3-1 lead after 1 quarter of play.
The U.S. trailing, but still clinging to upset hopes against gold medal favorite Italy, despite some very physical play against 2-meter man Chris Humbert. Most of the time, the bodies of Chris Humbert and the rest of the American men who play water polo are hidden beneath the surface, revealed only by the occasional underwater camera. But lately, Humbert and his teammates have been getting a good deal more exposure.
Chris Humbert never thought he'd be a centerfold, much less a cover boy.
I was kind of embarrassed by it, but I'll deal with it.
The 26-year-old laughs off some of the things he and his teammates have been asked to do, from Tonight Show appearances to Baywatch Beefcake.
You go into the sport realizing that you're not going to get rich playing it. I mean, you're going to lose money in the whole situation by playing it. But, I mean, we have a lot of fun out here, and it's a great sport.
Chris's attitude about the publicity stunts may be lighthearted.
How many of these are my sign in here? 10 million. Just 10 mil. Not like, you know, I'm the California surfer guy or whatever. Oh, somebody give me a pull. Get me off land.
But maybe not the best technicians. He took 200 top U.S. water polo players and cut it down to this squad of 13. They've been practicing. The U.S. has 6 hours a day, 6 days a week for about 2.5 years getting ready for this. Maybe the Italians have been practicing more.
United States on their 6-on-5 power play, Don. They have got to establish some good passing patterns now like that. The oldest guy in the pool, Mike Evans, insurance broker from Orange County, California. Father of 3, just blasts one past Adelico.
A skip shot coming off the wake. It can come up like a knuckleball. So 36-year-old Mike Evans, in his 3rd Olympic Games for the USA, hits the 2nd goal of the night for the Americans, and they trail 4 goals to 2.
You know, it was Evans' wife that really urged him to come back. She could see that he was getting a little antsy about a year and a half ago. Mike thought he had retired for the 2nd time after the '92 games. Came back, and at this point, the United States is glad he did.
And a very stable player, really settles things down, and we needed that goal badly, the U.S. did. It's 1 minute to go now. Since the last possession that the Italians have really had a shot on goal, there is 4.5 minutes to go in the 2nd quarter.
Italy in their front court offense. And Calcaterra getting double teamed, but being ejected for 20 seconds is Gavin Arroyo. And so the Italians go back on their power play.
Italians with the man advantage, and they are so tough all the time with a full complement of defenders against them. Moving it in closer and closer, and Duplanty comes down with the stop, and the U.S. has possession of the ball.
Great stop by Duplanty. He needed that one for his own confidence. Not the greatest shot, but he still got his hand on it.
U.S. driving down, open pool, as the U.S. brings the ball in close. Gavin Arroyo coming down close, but there's no place to go, so the U.S. sets the offense, gets a new shot clock after the Italians touched it. A shot and a goal. What a shot by number 5, Chris Oeding, a lightning overhand.
Look at this. Oeding just blasted his shot about 7 meters out right by Adelico. And, you know, Oeding is literally a medical mess. He has suffered a broken hand, pinched nerve, torn rotator cuff. And look, he's not even that big of a guy.
But he comes up big there, giving this huge American following at the water polo venue a lot to cheer about, as the USA, down 4-1 not that long ago, all of a sudden have rallied back to within 1 goal of Italy. At this point in the 2nd quarter, the score is Italy 4, the USA 3.
7-6-2, and 2 tied at 9-7-3-7. As close as we've seen it here in gymnastics, but here comes the man regarded as the king of the rings. He is Yuri Keki, 26 years old.
John, he said if he could trade in his 4 world titles, his 4 gold medals, what do you think he traded in for? Olympic gold.
He is named after the cosmonaut, the Russian cosmonaut, Yuri Gagarin.
He is such a complete brute.
Kravchev score a 9.80, so that puts him in 3rd position behind the tied Solani and Burinka. The score to beat for Keki for gold is 9.812. And we didn't see him in Barcelona because he tore his Achilles.
As I said, he is not of this world strong. You see him with his shirt off, and he makes the Batman suit look wimpy.
The last time Italy won a medal was in 1964 in gymnastics. 1964. Think about how huge this is in Italy right now.
One of the major things, John, of course, is going to come down to the dismount. He does one that he's stuck a million times, but he is unquestionably the favorite. Well, every time I see him, I'm basically speechless. He makes things look so easy that are so impossibly hard.
But that routine must go 9.813 or better to get him the gold. The score is up. 9.887. Keki's got the gold. Not since 1964 has Italy won a medal in gymnastics.
He has to go back to the awards. Calm down. Let's go.
Yuri Keki.
Right now.
And now he for sure owns the title, King of the Ring. Here's a look at the standings. For still rings, Yuri Keki, gold. Burinka, silver. Solani, ties for the silver. Please join us tomorrow for more event finals.
Budweiser. Alright, we're jamming. I wanna jam it with you. We're jamming, and I hope you like jamming too.
You didn't have to go in weekends, but you did. You didn't have to drive the team, but you did. You didn't need to volunteer, but you did. When you take pride in what you do, you always do more than you need to. That's how it is at Pennzoil. We didn't have to achieve the tougher GF2 motor oil performance standard ahead of its time, but we did.
Pennzoil, a broadcast sponsor of NBC's coverage of the 1996 Olympic Summer Games. document company, Xerox.
This broadcast is presented by authority of NBC and the International Olympic Committee and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of NBC and the International Olympic Committee. Budweiser, official beer of the '96 Summer Games, presents the Olympic Sports Desk.
And here we go, checking some other Olympic news, starting with tennis from Stone Mountain. Despite rainy skies, a huge crowd turned out to see, among others, Andre Agassi in action. And as Bud Collins and Mary Carrillo tell us, the fans certainly were heard from.
At tennis, people power and American power. Wimbledon hero Malavia Washington still going into the quarters. 6-7, 6-0, 6-2 over Kenneth Carlsen, Denmark.
And Bud, in Stone Mountain, Andre Agassi continues to prove he's the biggest star in tennis, the Muhammad Ali of our sport. Muhammad came to the mountain today just to play doubles with Washington. Rain postponed play for a few hours, and when the tennis resumed, an announcement was made that the doubles had been moved from the stadium to a far smaller Court 1. The people spoke. A further sermon on the Mount made things even worse.
We're sorry for the schedule change, but it was necessary for us to complete the program.
But chalk went up for the fans. Officials reconvened and moved the American duo back where they belong. But though they were cheered to a third set, USA's double-duty duo went down to South Africa.
Other American winners, Lindsay Davenport, Mary Jo Fernandez, and the people. But this is Atlanta, the home of Martin Luther King and civil disobedience. Winners, well, Washington is living with a couple of guys who play volleyball. And Agassi is rooming with Brooke Shields. Who do you think has a better handle on the Olympic experience, Bobby C.?
Well, I'll take that to be a rhetorical question and move on. In soccer earlier, we showed you the thrilling overtime win by the U.S. women against Norway. Now we go to men's play. It was Mexico and Nigeria in the quarterfinals at Legion Field in Birmingham. Daniel Amakachi with a nice setup for Agustin Okocha. He beats Mexican goalkeeper Jorge Campos 2-0 Nigeria, and that, as it turned out, was the final. In the other quarterfinal, played at the Orange Bowl in Miami, Brazil was leading Ghana 3-2 late in the game. Babeto, another one of those Brazilian one-name soccer players, takes it to the end line from a tough angle and scores. Brazil wins 4-2 and advances to the semifinals against Nigeria. Turning now to a couple of notes from track and field. After further review, the International Amateur Athletic Federation has commented on the photo finish between Gail Devers and Merlene Ottey in the women's 100 meters last night. The IAAF breaking out the finish to thousandths of a second. Devers hit the wire in 10.932 seconds, which is 5 thousandths of a second faster than Ottey's 10.937. It should be mentioned this was Ottey's 5th Olympics, her 5th medal overall, 4 bronze, 1 silver. And Jackie Joyner-Kersee found out last night that while President Clinton is no longer in Atlanta, he is still following the Olympics. Clinton phoned Joyner-Kersee in her hotel room at 10:30 last night to express regret over the hamstring injury which forced her out of the heptathlon. The president called Joyner-Kersee's career a great one, and he also wished her good luck in the long jump, which she is scheduled to compete in beginning on Thursday. And an interesting conclusion to today's water polo match between Italy and Hungary. It was for the bronze medal. Let's take a look. Italy had a 16-15 lead in the final seconds. The game clock winding down. Just before the horn sounds, the shot clock expires. That buzzer goes off. And Italy's reserves, thinking the game is over, leaped into the water to celebrate the win, some with bathrobes and all. However, the game was not over. The officials, after conferring, penalized Italy, awarding Hungary a 4-meter penalty throw. For Italy's subs, time to get out of the pool. Then Hungary's captain, Balázs Vinca, converts the penalty throw. And that sends the game into overtime tied at 16. The Hungarians were pumped, but Italy came back and outscored Hungary 4-2 in the OT to earn the bronze in the highest scoring game in Olympic history. Meanwhile, Croatia's head coach, Bruno Silic, ejected from yesterday's semifinal, barred from the sidelines in today's gold medal game against Spain, tries coaching over a cell phone, which was confiscated with his team leading 3-1. Must have the phone along with your AT&T calling card. Spain came back to win the game, led by captain Manuel Estearte's 3-goal hat trick. Spain takes the gold in water polo for the first time ever. And in case you missed it, the Dream Team had no trouble earlier tonight with Croatia winning 102-71. And we'll be back in a minute.
For 30 years,
wasted his mind in the name of science. Now, Jared Russell is free.
I can be anything I want to be.
And he's ready to join.
You saved a life.
The human race.
It's a pleasure to be here.
The Pretender, NBC Saturdays this fall.
Long ago, an inventor came up with the assembly line, allowing a few people to make a lot of something. It was the model for efficiency. At Chili's, we pride ourselves for our inefficiency, because we make each of the Big Mouth burgers by hand, grilled one at a time, by a person. And when you taste for yourself how good they are, you'll appreciate all the time we've wasted. Chili's fresh grilled Big Mouth burgers, monuments of inefficiency.
Just up from 40 Deuce and Dream Street, there's a joint that...
Now, the rage is in your hands. Primal Rage, fearsome new action figures from Playmates. It's a